Welcome to Monster Monday. So tonight we're going to be talking about Frankenstein's army. Yes, I'm sure some of you will be saying it's Tuesday. Yes, by the time this uploads it will be Tuesday, but I tried to get to this as quick as I could. And this is what I got, so take it or leave it. Now this is a found footage film, and right off the bat I will say that the plot is... it exists, I suppose. The characters and the plot aren't really the strong suit of this movie by any means, right? At least for me, anyways. But where this film greatly succeeds is in its character design and just the sheer amount of, creatures and monsters and whatever the hell you want to call these things. Frankenstein's army. The amount that you see in this film is astonishing. Like, it really makes me wonder what the budget of this film was, and I should have looked at trivia, because I almost believe that they just had access to a shitload of different costumes and a shitload of different wild designs, or maybe they put out some kind of, I don't know, call for these kinds of ideas, and people brought in all sorts. I don't even know where, how this movie has so many different characters, monstrous characters. There's so much. So it really is baffling to me when I was watching this. It was just holy shit. And then they get into this room, and then there's a scene where they're getting chased, or this one guy's getting chased, and it's just creature after creature after creature after creature. It's fucking wild, man. The amount of money this would cost if they were really financing all the outfits and everything. And that tank that they find, that fucking wild looking tank, I don't know, man. That's just, I don't understand how. I gotta look up the budget on this thing after. I should have done it before, but it is what it is. So we get this propagandic documentary footage, of course, to try to make Russia look heroic during World War II. And they get this distress call that leads them further into Germany, and they find this church where all these nuns and priests and whatnot have been slain and burned. And then this one nun is still alive, and they put her out of her misery. She doesn't look that bad. You might want to talk to her first, make sure she needs to be put out of her misery. And I found this to be kind of really funny throughout the movie, because these guys constantly are putting people out of their misery, and to one place where this guy tries to put someone out of their misery, and they punch him in the face because they're I'm not fucking dead, kind of thing. I found that funny because I was noticing this. I was just how many times are we gonna do the let's put them out of their misery thing here? And then one guy's you ain't putting me out of my misery. So I found that great. And the first thing we see, which is a zombot, I guess that's what they are referred to, or so Wikipedia says. We get some wild looking creature out of a Silent Hill or a Resident Evil or something. This thing's wild looking, man. But that's true to be, and I don't want to get too repetitive and too redundant with this, but that's basically the movie. There is just this showcase of amazing practical effects and creature design, and just creativity and imagination, and really just kind of going wild here. And this film is more of just kind of when you want to talk about it, you want to talk about the creature designs, how wild they are. That one dude, I think I saw his name was Razor razor tooth, or I don't know what the fuck it was. But there's this, the most famous one of them, the Nazi, creature up on stilts with like a drill nose. That thing's crazy looking. That thing's crazy looking for sure. But there's so many. There's one with like a Venus flytrap on its head. Since this is shot in found footage style, although the camera and the video or the audio is way too good for the time that this was made. Way, like when it was made in the 1940s. It obviously wasn't, but in the film it's supposed to have been shot in the 40s. And one guy does draw some attention to this. He's like, does that camera have audio? I've never seen a camera like that, this and that. So they kind of try to address it, but no camera's taking this good of footage and this good of audio all together in one, in 1944. So that's just something you got to accept. I really don't care with a movie like this. What do you expect? The whole film just kind of feels like an exploration of a haunted house. Like if you were to film a haunted house that you went to, one of those walkthrough, scare-a-thons. This is like what it feels like when you're walking through it, like a hotel inferno or something, which is good. I mean, I don't dislike that. It's just that I think that's really all it has going for it. But I'm not sure that's a knock, because what it has going for it is so strong. So the practicals and the creatures and the gore and all that stuff is very top notch. So the rest of the film being as lackluster as I find it, because the plot to this is essentially just, these Russian soldiers get this distress call. They go in, they find this abandoned church that ends up being more of like a factory where these creatures are made. They go deeper in, trying to, end this. They think they've ended it, so they like ditch the cameraman. He goes deeper in. Then they all kind of get captured or killed, and then Victor Frankenstein, who's a descendant of Victor Frankenstein, has this plan. He's kind of went rogue, but he's creating these creatures. And then one of the dudes like tries to get him to defect, to come over to the Russians, whatever. And then one dude kills the guy, kills Frankenstein, Dr. Frankenstein, and he takes his head as proof. And then at the end we see that he hooked up with Stalin, and he got, in the credits picture we see the guy with Joseph Stalin. So I guess he's a hero of the Soviet Union. And that's really it. I mean, the plot and everything is just very, very basic. And the characters to me are all kind of forgettable. Like, they do a good job. It's just, this is more of a special effects showcasing, and that's really when I was watching this, I was like, fuck, man. Because I already had picked Mother of Tears for Monster Monday. And then when I was watching, I was like, there's just not enough monster stuff in this. And I'm like, what's another monster movie? What's something I haven't seen in a while? And then I went on Amazon Prime, where this is currently streaming, and I saw it. And I was like, Frankenstein's Army, I haven't watched that since it came out. I don't want to give that another shot. I know there's monsters and creatures in that, so that'll give me something to do on Monster Monday. And then, like, I was, this movie's only about an hour and 20 minutes long, and I was like 20 minutes left in the film, 15 minutes left. And I was like, Jesus, man, I don't really have a lot to talk about with this film, but I got to do something. I got to do something for Monster Monday, so hopefully I can find a few more things to say here, but I'm running short already. This one dude grabs a bunny and just starts smashing its head, and then holds another bunny's throat hostage in front of this guy, but then throws the bunny aside, or somebody comes and takes the bunny, and then just starts chopping this dude's fingers off. This guy is brutal, man. He's evil. One of the monsters has like scythes for hands, which is really cool. And then I already mentioned the Venus flytrap guy. He's like metalhead, and then he's like, that's super cool. And then there's this guy with like metal crab claws. They're just like opening and closing. He's coming at people. Definitely would have liked there to have been more kills for sure on the end of the humans that were getting killed by the monsters. You know, maybe throw in another 10 soldiers and just let them get mutilated on camera. That would have been great. Then they find this like body disposal guy who has like a backpack of freaking bodies on his back, and they blow his head off. His whole head explodes, which is fantastic. It kind of reminds me of the dude in Hostel that he runs into. He's just kind of this big lumbering, oafy, lurch looking motherfucker. And you know what also this movie kind of reminded me of? It was like a really sick and twisted, Star Wars. And what I mean by that is like all the creatures you would see in like a Mos Eisley Cantina or on, Takodana in Maz Kanata's castle or something like that, where you just like walk in and you see they do that like sweeping shot where they show all the different kinds of robots and all. It's just this like hodgepodge of different ideas, but they all feel like they're in that same galaxy, right? So there is some kind of cohesiveness to them, and that's what this feels like with the monsters in this. Even the weaponry, that tank thing that's outside that almost looks like the space jockey from Alien. That thing's wild. That thing's really cool. That thing must have taken a long time to make and a lot of money. So that one's cool as hell. I just feel this film is so ambitious. Like I feel like this is the film that Harbinger Down wanted to be. Now, I've already given that credit to The Void, and The Void definitely deserves that credit more so than this. But that being said, while The Void did knock most things out of the park and is the better Harbinger Down also was just going on and on about how it was this special effects, practical effects extravaganza, that there was going to be so much to look at on screen within that realm. And I feel like this film greatly, makes that promise and supersedes it as well, or exceeds it. Exceeds, I think, would be the proper word there. But yeah, so I just really wish that, I don't know, that these characters and the story could have played stronger. Like I just needed to care more about the characters, and then this film would be like a classic. This would be in my top 5 favorite found footage films. If you had all these creatures and they were like, and as I said before, put 10 more soldiers in there, have some focus on other soldiers and really pay attention to them, make me care or not like them, whatever it is that they need to go for there. Up the gore, up the kills on the men and the monsters. But right there, I feel like you're already talking about upping the budget higher than it already is, and I'm sure it's pretty damn high considering what we're seeing on screen. So I'm glad that they used all the money on screen, which it looks like they really did. Like they really took the money they had and threw it right onto the screen, which is great. That's what we want to see. Put it on screen, and with the rest, pay the actors and the directors. That's all you need to do with your money. And then there's one guy who has a propeller head. The creatures in this are so imaginative and unlike most things I've ever seen. I have seen films that are like this to a degree, but this one just has definitely a unique feel to it for sure. And I'm glad that it has that strength, because without it, like if they only showed like the one dude on stilts and he just kind of randomly appeared once in a great while, this film would not be good. For me, it's just purely about those practicals. It's purely about the creature designs. So the rest of the film to me is whatever. Then we see a human head that's been sewn onto a teddy bear, and it's just like laying inside this little containment box, and it's just like looking around and kind of aware, but it's attached to a teddy bear. What the doctor was doing there, I couldn't even begin to tell you. I guess he's tried to see if he could make it even work, you know. So, that's not going to be much for his army. I don't see a teddy bear running out into battle with a human head falling over because of the weight of it. So I don't see it being a very good soldier in your army, but it was what it is. And then there's a scene where he walks in. One of them walks into this room, and there's literally like 100 bodies hanging from the ceiling. Now, whether this was like, a composite shot with like artwork and whatever, I don't know. I don't care. Whatever it is, it's amazing. And it's it's just like it's just showing off how much budget that this film had. But I gotta look up. I gotta do that. I gotta look up the budget. As I said, I should have done it before, but I'm in it now. 16 minutes in this bitch. I ain't starting over. And yeah, I just keep writing down. Can't get over how many designs are on screen. I couldn't have said it better myself. Past Jason, who was writing these notes. And shit, man. I'll say this too. The director of this, and this film's like 2013 or something. The director of this never did anything else, and he never did anything before. This is his directorial debut, and he's done nothing else. I wonder why. I mean, yeah, as a cohesive plot and all that, it's kind of a mess. It's kind of a muddled mess, to be honest. It's frantic. It's all over the place. It doesn't seem to have a structured narrative. It's just trying to be chaotic, and that's what it achieves, and that's fine if that's what you're going for. It's unfortunately what made me lose some interest in it. Not all my interest, but a good amount of it. Enough to care. But, if you're going to succeed somewhere, really fucking succeed, and that's what this film does. So, I'll give it its credit where its credit is due. But at the same time, I'm assuming the reason that he hasn't made a film again is because that just didn't work. And, maybe he does not see himself as a visual storyteller. I want to say that he is a, he does stuff on films for effects, something along those lines. And, you can always tell in movies like this that, when you like watch a Wishmaster or something, you can always tell that those films are the works, like the directors that worked on those, that they must have had a background in special effects, because only like special effects guys care to put that much artistic, imagination on the screen. And so that's films like this exist because of guys like that. It's just kind of a shame that they don't get together with maybe a better writer. But who knows? I mean, Peter Jackson made Bad Taste and Dead Alive, aka Brain Dead, and he went off to make The Lord of the Rings and all this shit. He was making kind of silly splatter films that had tons and tons and tons of on-screen gore and tons of amazing creature designs. I'm speaking most specifically about Brain Dead, but but Brain Dead's story is definitely told much better. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it's heavily focused on its practical effects display. It does a good, decent job of telling a story, but that's what its primary focus is on. So who knows what this guy's next film could have been. And if maybe if your writing isn't so amazing, go and hire somebody else. I mean, we got some pretty cool shots in here, and I don't know, maybe he's better off not making another film. I don't know. It just kind of surprised me to see that he's made nothing else. But it is what it is. So if I forget, someone comment below with what the budget on this fucking movie was. And I'm gonna try to remember right now to get off and to go look at that kind of stuff. But that's Monster Monday. Sorry, it's a little bit of a shorter one this week, and that it's late, but I honestly just don't have a lot to say, unfortunately. But it's still a fun watch, but only for the things I mentioned. Honestly, I couldn't give a fuck about the rest of the film, and that's a damn shame. But oh well. Anyway, until next week.